Talk. Talk. Talk to me Tuesday. Hey there, welcome to Talk to Me Tuesday on a Tuesday. I'm your host, Madi B. And today we're here again on another special show, another fun show. We're going to be talking about Super Bowl 56 that's coming up this Sunday, a couple of days. So we're right around the corner of seeing the big show, the Super Bowl game for all of you football fanatics, NFL fanatics. This is for you guys. And if you're not a football fanatic and you love commercials, this is also for you. So we're going to talk a little bit about today. We have a very, very special lineup today. We have our special guest, the managing partner, Ramesh Raghuthaman.
Hi.
Lawrence Attaway, who's here. Both of them have a tremendous knowledge of football, love the sport and others too. So we have a very strong panel that we're really going to discuss the Super Bowl information. So it's such a pleasure to have you guys.
Thank you for having us, Monty. And who doesn't love the Super Bowl, man? Who doesn't? Everybody loves it.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I love the Super Bowl. It's great.
And it's for every genre, every age, everything. If you don't like to cook, then you can watch the commercials. If you don't like the commercials, you can cook or watch the football game. This is like a family affair. So
don't forget gambling.
That too. So look, we're going to start off with, for all of the viewers that are watching right now, tell us a little bit about yourselves. We'll start with Lawrence and then we'll go with the attorney, Ramesh Raghuthaman. Tell us a little about yourself so the viewers can kind of get to know you guys. If you guys played a sport, we'd like to know that too.
Hey guys, just want to say I'm happy to be here, excited to be here with you guys today on Talk to Me Tuesday. I'll just give you guys a little bit about myself. Lawrence Attaway, I'm a former athlete. I've played high school, some college ball, some Division III lower level stuff, but I'm super passionate about the game. Several other sports that I've played all my life, I'm super passionate about that as well. I'm really excited and I'm happy to be here today to talk about the Super Bowl. I'm very passionate about the sport, very passionate about the game. So I'm from Houston, but I was born and raised in California, so I have some ties to the LA Rams. I have some family at the Rams as well. So, we'll see how it plays out.
Nice. We'll tap into that California side in a second. But Ramesh, tell us a little bit about yourself and your history.
Well, yeah, if people don't know, I'm the managing partner here at the firm. I'm actually from Houston. I was actually born in Ohio, but we moved here when I was really young. I like to claim Sugar Land as my home. That's where I grew up, spent most of my life. My mom is still there. Growing up, played all sorts of sports, football, baseball, basketball, played them all. When it got to college, it was more of the intramurals and open league kind of thing. But yeah, we, played and have always enjoyed kind of the Super Bowl for almost everything but the actual game. Growing up, Super Bowl was a big thing in our house. We used to have parties all the time, in a tradition that we actually continued for a long time. The parties were everything. They were about everything but the game. So, I enjoyed getting together with everybody. And I look forward to hopefully being able to do that this weekend as well. With regards to the game, a little bit tough. I was in St. Louis for law school, and the Rams actually were in St. Louis at that time and won the Super Bowl. It was with the good old Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, all those
guys. Yeah.
Had a radio show on turf, and it was a lot of fun. And actually, my last year, it was actually the year after we graduated, was when Brady won his first Super Bowl by beating the Rams.
Nice. Yeah. So look, you guys have a lot of background. We're going to tap into that and kind of talk about the sport, the what we're forecasting the turnout's going to be, even on the defensive side, the offensive side. So we're going to start off with, kind of touching base on where they're playing this year. So this year's Super Bowl will be played in do you say SoFi or SoFi Stadium?
I think it's SoFi.
SoFi as well, yeah.
Okay. So the SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, California. It's actually in Inglewood, California. Been up for 2 years. So tell me a little bit of what you guys think about this stadium. Is it an advantage? Is it a disadvantage? What are y'all's thoughts about the stadium?
Well, they are playing at home for the second year in a row, right? Tampa Bay played at home in the Super Bowl last year. Look, other than, I would say a routine for the athletes, right? In terms of getting in their car, driving to the facility, being, knowing their way about the facility, knowing the locker room, that type of familiarity is definitely an advantage. But outside of that, nothing about the Super Bowl is familiar for them, right? I mean, the halftimes are longer, the introductions are longer, the commercial breaks are longer. There's a lot more pomp and circumstance. There's a lot more that goes with it. But I do agree that there is an advantage for the Rams to be had because it is their home turf. I mean, even if you paint it different colors, it's still their home turf.
Yeah. Exactly. Lauren,
I definitely agree with that somewhat. I do believe that there will be somewhat of an advantage as far as like the physical aspect of the game goes. I think the Rams might be more at ease, having a home cooked meal, sleeping in their own beds. But as far as like the game gets going, I think whoever the better team is that day, no matter what stadium they're going to play in, is going to have the best outcome. I do like the stadium. I think like 2.3 or $2.5 billion put into the stadium. So it's state of the art. I think everything is going to be up to date. I don't think there's going to be any power outages like there was a few Super Bowls back. So I think it should be a great atmosphere, a clean atmosphere, family fun atmosphere. So I think it's great that they're having it in SoFi.
And look, go ahead, Ramesh.
I was just about to say the other problem with the game in Los Angeles is I don't know if you guys have looked at the ticket prices. Wow.
Yeah.
What can we say?
I usually try to just look just to see what it is. And typically, the floor seat just to get in. I'm talking about the worst seat in the house, just getting in the building. Typically, it used to be about 2,500, 3,000. You can expect it in that range. These tickets, upper deck, last row, are going for $7,000, $8,000. Wow. Anything in the middle deck is like 13,000 and up. Anything in the lower deck is like 20,000 and up. And those prices have held, man, because I checked last week and I checked ahead of the show just to have a tidbit for it. But yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. And I can't believe people would be paying those type of prices for these things.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to pay.
Not me.
And look, guys, it's LA, right? In LA, there's a lot of actresses and actors and money and famous people. So I'm sure it's going to be filled with a lot of celebrities there. If not already got their tickets, they're probably working on that. So like you guys mentioned, the Los Angeles Rams will be hosting the Cincinnati Bengals for the right to win, and especially the right to win the Vince Lombardi Trophy, awarded each year to the winning team. Now, I want to ask you guys, this is an opinion-based show, okay? So do not be afraid to give us your opinion because we all have one. But in y'all's opinion, who do you guys think will win the trophy this year?
In my honest opinion, I'm going to take the Los Angeles Rams. And I don't want to say that as just a fan. I really love the game of football and what they're doing just on the football field on both sides. Is truly amazing. They're holding opponents under 100 yards of rushing while also putting up 27 points per game. They have stars on both sides of the ball. And no matter what sports you play, you need the horses to win the race. And I firmly believe that they have the horses in just all the right spots of health. They come in healthy and everything's in order. I do believe that the Rams will and should win this game by a comfortable margin.
Okay, that's a strong one. Now, Ramesh, how strong is your opinion on that?
Well, I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm not going to say that the Rams aren't going to win, but Give me the Bengal and the +4.5. I just think it's going to be a closer game. Look, I can see the Rams winning it, but I don't see it being a blowout. These teams are both highly competitive. You've got two good quarterbacks, both of them on a roll. And if you look on both sides of the ball, right, you've got Chase and Higgins on one side, and you've got Beckham and Cup on the other. I mean, I think they're just matched up well, and you got both defenses playing well. Although, Lawrence, I will give you the edge to that Ram defense, boy, with Jalen Ramsey and all them guys. So,
stars, man.
Superstars, man. Superstars. Yeah.
And we're going to talk about some of those games, especially the last game before the Super Bowl. And what a show did they put on. But look, just like you mentioned, Ramesh, the Bengals are back in the Super Bowl for the first time since January 1989. I want to ask you guys, what are your thoughts on this and what this really means? I know it's going to be an honor for them just to be at the game, but for you guys, what do you guys think about this?
Well, can I date myself real quickly? So I remember as a kid, my first ever Super Bowl I watched was Bengals 49ers, and that was back in like 81 or 82. That was like kind of the first one I remember. And then it was Bengals 49ers again in 89. All right. Mm-hmm. And then it could have been Bengals 49ers here, but now it's Bengals. I mean, I think the fans got to be, they have to be ecstatic. They need to be all in. Obviously, it's happened 3 times in like 40 something years for them. So, and they haven't won.
Never.
So.
I'm with you, Lawrence, on the Rams. However, hopefully they could break that cycle, right? Because you guys said they've never won.
Never.
Oh, man. So,
but I don't think LA's won a Super Bowl either, right? I mean, the Raiders were Los Angeles when they won it. My apologies.
Yeah. So, look, it's going to be an interesting game. And I have to ask you guys, before we go deep into these teams and focusing on the LA Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals, what is y'all's favorite team that y'all watched every single game this year? And if it's not your favorite team, maybe just someone you followed this year that you just knew that they had a talent on the field.
The run and shoot Warren Moon Houston Oilers. That was my squad. That was the team that got me loving football. That was the team that I watched. That was, that was the team that, like, any true blue Houstonian loved their Houston Oilers. And once the Oilers left, it's never been the same.
Yeah, you've been sad ever since. Lawrence, what's your favorite team or the one that you consistently watch this year?
Probably my favorite team. They come up short almost every year. I have a small love for the Oakland Raiders. I used to play for the junior Pee Wee team when I was younger, so I have just a small type of love for the Raiders. But I love watching the Raiders. I love the way they play. It was tough situations going on in the locker room. But I'm still a Raiders fan. I still have the love for the team, for the organization. But they just didn't come up well enough this year.
But they have like a really dope stadium. And they even have an area where it's almost like a section, like at a club. It's Las Vegas, right? So they kind of have to bring that to the game, but it's a pretty cool stadium.
Yeah, you're talking about the Wynn Club that's right in there.
Right.
It's partnered with Wynn Hotel. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Gotta go visit that one of these days, man.
Yes, exactly. Hopefully we all get to see that. Now, I want to kind of turn the page a little bit and just focus on the teams dynamic, right? So we're talking about the Bengals versus the Rams is what we're going to focus on right now. I heard who's y'all's favorite team, but we're going to kind of move those for a later show. Now, the game to get these teams to the Super Bowls, that game before was insane. It's the best playoff games to watch. The Bengals defeated the Kansas City Chiefs in overtime, and the Rams won over San Francisco 49ers. I would ask you guys, did you guys watch those games? But I know better. So I'm going to go ahead and ask y'all, what were your thoughts about the games? And do you guys agree that these were like one of the like best games that y'all have seen?
Lawrence, you want to take this?
Yeah, I think that Cincinnati in the Kansas City Chiefs game was probably one of the better games I've seen in my adulthood, to be honest. I didn't have the Bengals pulling that out. The Chiefs usually kind of put the nail in the coffin. It's not like the type of organization where they, showboat and joke around. They're usually about business. And it took me totally by surprise to see the Cincinnati Bengals come back and win that game. So that was very exciting for me. But my camera's black.
Yeah. Well, look, I will tell you this, just to, step on that point a little bit more and kind of go into detail with it. Not only were those 2 games last week incredible, the 4 games the week before were insane. And all of them were, down to the wire. I think what they called it, they had the last 6 games. The last 6 games were all walk-offs. Like they ended on one last play, whether it was a field goal or a touchdown. I think, honestly, the game of the entire playoffs had to be Buffalo and Kansas City. That was incredible,
Yeah, no, I agree. Now, look, you guys talked about the games, and now I kind of want to talk about the quarterbacks.
Oh, now we're talking.
You were on the show with me last year. We had a whole section about just highlighting the quarterbacks, which it's an important role. There's a lot of important positions. But I want to talk about these quarterbacks and kind of do a little comparison analysis on just this position right now. So quarterback for the Bengals, we have Joe Burrow, which is only 25 years old, played in the NFL, for 2 years, LSU National Championship Heisman Trophy winner. What are your thoughts, or what more characteristic traits that are good or bad do you want to add to the table here on Bengals quarterback?
He's Joey Burr, man. he's dope. Joey Burr. He's like the hottest thing going right now. The guy's on fire. He's actually, listen, all the semantics aside, this guy is amazing. He has an amazing pocket presence. And I think the one thing that people need to remember, he missed the entire previous season with the torn ACL. He got his leg completely blown out. So he is coming back and leading the Cincinnati Bengals to the Super Bowl, and look, the sky's the limit for him.
My screen's out?
Okay. The sky's the limit.
%, and give it all on the floor.
You make an amazing point too, Marty. Most people who come back from that, they say it's a 2-year injury. This guy made it back in 1 year. So the amazing thing about it is not only did he kind of defeat the odds in terms of making it back, but he played well. I mean, he played elite level football, which, on the contrasting side, if you think about with Matt Stafford, let me tell you, Stafford is he's your established brand. Okay. Like Stafford is you know what you're going to get. He consistently delivers, day in, day out. He was stuck for years in Detroit with a bad team and bad franchise. So he wasn't able to get out of it. So, now we're beginning to see what he looks like with a full team and a great arsenal. And I think he's kind of proved to anybody who's ever questioned whether or not he's been good or not.
Yeah. And I want to ask you, do you think this quarterback, being new to the NFL and fresh out of college, can lead this team to win? Look, Patrick Mahomes did it, right? So what are your thoughts on this quarterback and his capability?
I think he could do it. I mean, I don't see how he can't. I mean, look, everything is there. They've got all the pieces that are there to make it good for him to be able to pull it off. They've got a great defense. They have amazing skill positions, with Jamar Chase, Mixon, and all those guys. And they have the rock star kicker, the one that they drafted. And he has been absolutely money. So.
Yeah. And look, let's kind of move it over to the Rams quarterback, which is Matthew Stafford. Mm-hmm. Different in age, different in times in the NFL. So we're talking 34 years old, 13 years in the NFL, ranks one of the top 12 amongst the NFL quarterback all time in completion. So what are your thoughts about his statistics and his experience in the NFL?
Well, I think he's got a proven track record. I think what you were just explaining shows that he's shown a level of consistency. And like, let's back this thing up. Let's remember who Matt Stafford is. Matt Stafford's the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Okay, I mean the guy has good pedigree. He has he has all the right background. He checks all the right boxes. Okay, strong arm, mentally tough, smart with the game, good communicator. He's a good leader. People get behind him. So he's got everything there. Look, if they lose, I would say it's not going to be because of Matt Stafford. I mean, I guess there's a chance that he has a bad game and throws 4 interceptions or whatever, but his track record and the data that we have shows that he just doesn't do that. He just doesn't do that.
So let's talk about if you were to put the quarterbacks one-on-one, okay? With everything that you've seen all year, the games, the stats, everything, who would you pick in this lineup? Whether it's Stafford or Burrow, which one would you say takes the win? Just quarterback versus quarterback.
Well, I think if you're looking long term, you're going to go with Joey Burrow. He's young, and the upside is unknown. I think with Stafford, he's a known quantity, but there's value in that known quantity. There's value in knowing exactly what you have and what you're dealing with, and consistency. Like, what do people want from each other? It's consistency from one day to the next, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I think you're going to get that. But if you had to pick one, give me Joey Burrow.
Hey, okay. So look, now we want to kind of talk a little bit about the historic side of things. And look, Ramesh, you have a lot of great knowledge when it comes to these teams, the history, when they went. You've even been to the Hall of Fame. And so you have just a lot when it comes to the sport. You even as an attorney represent a lot of these either ex or current clients, players in the NFL, which are your clients.
Right.
So look, you have a lot of that history. So this is the first time these teams have met in a championship in the Super Bowl. The Bengals' first Super Bowl appearance since 1988. You said it, against the 49ers. They lost 20. Do you remember that game? Let's talk about it.
I do. Actually, I remember the 88 season game. It was crazy. I remember we had the Super Bowl party at our house. My dad was out grilling and everything. It was fun. But anyway, the reason I remember that game was that it was the time that the Bengals were actually up, and it was Joe Montana who led the team all the way down, and they won on a touchdown like in the last minute. It was Montana. I forget. I think he threw it to John Taylor. That's who he threw it to, and that guy caught a touchdown. And I remember that. And I remember the Sports Illustrated coming out like a week later, and it coming in the mailbox. And I remember opening it up, and it said Joe Cool.
Look, and I don't even doubt you still have that too.
No, I wish I did. I don't. I wish I did, but yeah, I don't.
Yeah, and look, the Rams, on the other hand, this is making their 5th Super Bowl appearance and their 2nd in the last 4 years. So these matchup marks the first time in Super Bowl history that both teams enter the playoffs as number 4 seeds. Mm-hmm. What is your thought about that? I mean, the seed or the placement, they can outdo it and still make it to the top number 1 and number 2 spot. But
I think you make a good point. I mean, listen, very rarely in the history of sports, not just football, do the number 1 seeds always come through. I mean, I think even last year, both number 1. I know the Kansas City would have been number 1. So, but there's just a lot of times, and I think that with the way the NFL is, and with the parity and the way that the league is designed, and everything like that, it makes the playing field so level that it doesn't matter if these guys are playing on the road, playing as the 4th seed, 6th seed. It doesn't matter, right? It just, they just do that.
It doesn't matter. I mean, it does, right? There's the preseason that kind of determines during season, but then they sometimes get this like burst of energy to where it's like, whoa, where have they been all season, right? And they like take it to another level. And this is kind of what we've seen in this situation.
Yeah, well, and I think a lot of times too, you have to remember, so these guys, they make a lot of money and they get paid to play a game. But like once they get into the playoffs, and once you're into the postseason and you have a chance to win a world championship or win the Super Bowl, I think these teams, like the players, it's adrenaline, right? I mean, who's going to stop you? I'm not going to run out of, you're not going to stop short of the Super Bowl because you got tired.
Right. No,
Right?
no,
So
that's not even an excuse that they could do in the
Yeah.
NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you're, you know, that everybody's going to be able to have an equal play. Right. And like these players, they'll have the adrenaline, they'll have enough of the motivation, they'll have enough of the desire that even if they're tired, they're going to push through.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Any other historic tidbits that you want to add that are important on the history of both of these teams, right? Cincinnati Bengals and the Los Angeles Rams. Anything that you want to kind of put out there for people to be on the lookout in this game and how those things may be important?
I think it's funny from the Los Angeles Rams standpoint that historically, right, this is their fifth Super Bowl. So they lost their first Super Bowl as the Los Angeles Rams to the Steelers. And then they won their second Super Bowl as the St. Louis Rams, lost their third Super Bowl as the St. Louis Rams, lost their fourth Super Bowl as the Los Angeles Rams, and now they're back. So,
oh my goodness.
It's like, it's crazy when these teams, they're in different cities and, they go and win championships, right? And come back. So
yeah. Well, that's going to be interesting. Look, we have a little, once we get Lawrence back on in regards to he's having technical difficulties, there's going to be something that we're going to kind of throw out there, a little game, things to know about the game. We're going to hold off a little bit. And if not, look, I know, Ramesh, you're going to kill it. But before that, I'm going to kind of go into the entertainment aspect. And look, you have a good musicality. You love a lot of music. You have your genre, but you also are open to other genres. So we're going to talk about the halftime performance.
Epic halftime, man. Epic halftime.
I want to kind of talk about this because it's Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, Mary J. Blige. This is the first time I've seen, I don't know if it's in history, but that I've seen a lineup like this of more than two people. There's always been two. I've seen that. But a bunch of amazing artists, then, oh, wow. Like, I just think this is great. And some of these are California love.
Exactly. So, I think it's going to be amazing. It's got all the West Coast guys out there, I mean, I know Eminem's from Detroit, but, he's a West Coast, quote unquote, he's part of the West Coast label, right? If that's true, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, most of them are from California. I don't know really where Kendrick Lamar's from.
Me either.
But what do you what do you think about this performance? Like, it could be either amazing or it could be like overkill, right? Some of our Super Bowl shows, you're like, I could have done better. So
I think it's going to be amazing. I think when you have people like Dr. Dre, when you have people like Snoop Dogg, when you have people like Eminem, they never seem to disappoint, right? They never seem to disappoint. They always seem to rise to the moment and deliver a great performance. And look, I really think that the reason why these guys all got together and it's all this star-studded cast is the country needs it. I mean, it's been a tough year. It's been a tough year for the country. It's been a tough year for the game. It's been a tough year for a lot of these players. And I think that these entertainers are really doing their part by entertaining and providing this moment for the country. Because look, like you said at the beginning of the show, Monty, I will say this. It doesn't matter if you're into football, you care about the teams, you're not from St. Louis, Cincinnati, Los Angeles, doesn't matter. Everybody knows the Super Bowl is still Super Bowl Sunday,
Yeah.
Everybody knows. Yeah, so it's almost a cultural event.
Yeah, we have Lawrence back on. Lawrence, I know you're back on.
Sorry about that.
Thank you. No, we know you had technical difficulties. We kind of kept carrying on, but let me ask you, we're on the Super Bowl halftime performers. Which artists are you the most excited to see from Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, Mary J. Blige? Who are you the most excited to see?
In all honesty, it probably might be Mary J. Blige. I haven't seen her do anything as far as music goes in a long time. So I am a Mary J. Blige fan. I'm pretty sure many people are. I've seen Dr. Dre do some things on the production level. I listen to Kendrick Lamar. I'm an avid fan of Snoop. I'm a listener to Snoop Dogg as well. But Mary J. Blige has kind of not been really, I don't know what she's been up to. So I think it'll be good for a lot of people to see Mary J. in performance. I think it's actually historic for all of them to come together and kind of do it during Black History Month. during the Super Bowl, where, national television, it's going to be national television. It's going to be the prime stage for them to create a moment. I think that's going to be really special.
Yeah, Ramesh, who are you excited to see?
Eminem and Snoop.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. Look, some of these older genres and some of these older artists that I remember, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Mary J. I'm excited to see, like, no matter the age, what they're going to do and bring to the stage, because it's all about the performance and they have it in them, right? So I'm excited to see how they're going to just, come from years later and be like, I'm back.
Got it.
That's what's exciting. Exactly. And look, I also want to talk about the Star Spangled Banner. Ramesh, you are one person. You watch this because you're like, how long is it?
Why did you call me out? You just called me out on this show.
Yeah, so this
just because I bet the national anthem on the over-under?
It usually over, too.
This year's the country singer Mickey Guyton set to perform the Star Spangled Banner at the stadium on February 13. Look, he was nominated for 3 Grammy Awards: Best Country Album, Best Country Song, Best Country Solo Performance, all for Remember Her Name. Now, with a country singer, you may get the long vocal, you may not. So, Ramesh, do you think it's going to be a long Star Spangled Banner, or they're going to be under the time?
I'm taking the over. He's carrying the brave.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. So look, we're going to go back to this little game I want to play, and it's going to test both of you guys on your knowledge, the things that you know about the game. So how we're going to do this, and look, all of you guys that are watching at home live as well, I want you to participate too in the comment section. Let us know, and we can all be in this together. So I'm going to ask you guys some questions, and you guys tell me if it's a certain quarterback, either Stafford with the Rams or Burrow with the Bengals, or both. If this is applicable to both of them, say both, right? It's not a race, so you guys can each answer. So don't think you have to be the first one to answer. But question number 1, are you guys ready? Okay. Yeah. Which quarterback dominates when blitzed?
Kind of both. Kind of both, right?
I didn't hear y'all's answer. Okay, what did y'all say?
I'm going to go Matthew Stafford.
Okay, I'm going to say both because Stafford, he's right about Stafford, but man, Burrow ate up Kansas City's blitz last week, man. He ate him up. They blitzed him, and then that's what happened. They started blitzing him, and then he came back, and they won.
It's both, guys. Good job, Ramesh. So next question, which quarterback will break the NFL records for most pass yards and most pass touchdowns by a player making his first Super Bowl appearance?
Matthew Stafford. I'm going Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, I do. You know what? I would just be guessing. I don't know. Since they're both making their first appearance, I would say Stafford probably because he's going to throw the ball more, right? Their offense is geared for them to throw the ball more.
One guy's at 4,800. One guy's at 46.
So,
passing yards?
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is for the game.
Yeah, that's close. Look, Matthew Stafford, he has 49,995 pass yards and 323 pass touchdowns in his regular season career. So that is the answer. Good job, Lauren. So next question is, which team scored 460 points in regular season?
The Rams?
Both. I'm going to go both.
460 on the nose?
You're correct. It's both teams.
Wow.
Exactly 460 points in the regular season. First of all, if that's not ironic, I don't know what is.
Yeah. These stats are really close. I think that's why the line was 4.5 because they didn't really know what to do.
Close,
yeah. So next question is, who had third most sacks in the NFL? This is team based. Is it the Rams or the Bengals?
Ramesh?
Rams?
I'm going to go Bengals.
Ramesh, you're right. It's Rams with the third most sacks in the NFL.
They have Aaron Donald, Lawrence. They have Aaron Donald.
Okay, last question. Which quarterback was sacked more than any quarterback?
David Carr.
The quarterback.
I'm gonna go. I'll go.
Or the Rams quarterback.
I'll go Rams. I'll say Matthew Stafford.
I'm gonna say Bengals.
Okay, it was Burrow was sacked more than any quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, now look, I want to ask you this. Now knowing those a little bit of the stats, what are y'all's thoughts about how this game is gonna go on Sunday?
It's gonna be close. That's why you want to take the Bengals and them points.
It's gonna be.
I'm totally all for Bengals with the 4.5 spread, but I still think the Rams are just going to get it. I do think it's going to be a close game. I think there might be a couple of plays on special teams, a couple of third downs that might go the Rams' way. And that might give them maybe a 2-touchdown lead, but I still got the Rams controlling the run game. I still got the Rams controlling the flow of the game. Joe Burrow's great. The Bengals are great. Zach Taylor's great, but they've never been here. It's been about 47 years. That's going to be some, coaching plays a factor in it as well. So I think it's going to be a good game, but I still got the Rams.
You make a really good point about the coach because the Rams coach, he's real one of those cerebral types. He's real super smart.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah, he can pull up stuff. They had this thing about Sean McVay where it was insanely incredible, his photographic memory. So the interviewer was asking the Rams coach, he's like, week 7 against the Bills, 3rd and 7, fourth quarter, he could call the play. He remembered the play.
Wow.
To the dot.
That's
To the dot.
Memory.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. Like, so you and I saw that same video, obviously.
No, yeah, definitely.
You and I saw that.
And what's crazy is how many plays are kind of out there also and things that you have to remember. Even myself being on the dance team, all the routines I had to remember. If you ask me, Ramesh, on my first season of dancing, a routine, I cannot do it. I can't. Even my last team, I can't do it. So, wow, kudos to him.
I remember coming into the old accounting office and watching you practice and then being like, what are you doing?
Don't tell my secret. But yeah, always practicing. But look, I want to kind of go over some comments that those of you guys that are watching are saying. So I have Renee saying Bengals to win 24-21. Ooh, she went specific on us. Janae said Joe Burrow. Jennifer said, go Ramesh. Always fun watching you on here. Misty saying, I don't know. It's going to be a close one, but I'm rooting for Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Who are you guys rooting for? One more time, guys. Who are you guys going for? With all things into perspective, the quarterback, the teams, the history, the coaches. Last call. Who do you guys have?
Do I have to actually pick a side or can I pick my gambling side?
You can't say goal.
I think the Rams win, but the Bengals keep it close.
Okay, that's fair enough. Lawrence?
I'm also going to stick with my prediction. I do have the Rams winning, but I also think that the money line will win some bettors. Some favor.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and look, I want to kind of talk about some of those metrics that are put on the Super Bowl, right? Ramesh, Lawrence, you guys can kind of talk about that, but going over under in the Star Spangled Banner, is it per quarter, the points?
But it's everything.
That, over under, like
it's all of it.
Talk about being at work is the statistical side of things, is a percentage of over in points, a percentage of under. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, and the best part about it is the prop bets. Those are the best. Like, there's books and books of prop bets. I actually have a prop bet story. There's this one prop bet. I don't know if you remember the Steelers Arizona Cardinals Super Bowl. Anyway, yeah, there was a prop bet that was the third string running back. His name was Gary Russell. I still remember his name. Gary Russell. He said to score a touchdown. Okay, and it was like minus 330, which is like super. It was not to score a touchdown. I'm sorry. Okay, so he was favored to not score a touchdown. Dude had 4 carries all season. Okay, it's first quarter of the game. The Steelers get the run back. He goes all the way back. Their main running back, Bettis, gets hurt, or whoever, Willie Parker, whoever it was at the time, gets hurt. Here comes Gary Russell in for one play, and he scored a touchdown. I lost my bet.
On the first, minute or 2
yeah, it was
minutes?
like a minute and a half into the game.
Wow, I'm pretty sure that like messed up your whole momentum for that whole
Yeah,
game.
that was my biggest bet of the day because I was like, there's no way Gary freaking Russell's going to score a touchdown.
Wow. Well, you guys be careful when it comes to those bets because it could get like that's a good example. You are thinking there's no way I have this one in the bag, and you never know, he might have ate his Wheaties that day and he got a touchdown. Yeah. So look, I want to kind of turn it over a little bit into the commercials. Super Bowl is known to have the best commercials. This is where they do their debut on some of the commercials they've been working on all year, and just really catchy advertising, makes you laugh, makes you cry. I remember even last year I was here crying on one of the commercials that just made me so sad. So look, I want to ask you guys, and this goes out for every one of you guys that are watching too, because the commercials is something either A, you take your break and you go get some food, or B, you're taking your break and you're watching the couch to see the commercials. So what has been a memorable commercial that you guys can remember or think of, or even already maybe seen some of the little snippets?
The best commercials ever were the Budweiser What's Up commercial. It's like, what's up? Like, what's up? Those are
that is funny. That is your favorite, Ramesh.
But the most moving one, I'll tell you, was the Super Bowl right after 9/11, where Budweiser had the horses in the snow, and the horse took the bow to where the Trade Center towers were. That was really moving for me.
Yeah, that's a good one. Lawrence, what about you? Do you remember of any commercials that impacted you or just made you laugh?
Yeah, man. I'm doing some stuff for school right now, so we kind of have to research like what goes into getting the commercial there. People are paying roughly like $7 million, maybe between $5 or $7 million to get a 30-second commercial spot. And the answer is it worth it? Personally, I totally feel like it's worth it. It's not going to be too many instances in the country where we can get people to watch or look at something all at the same time, like the Super Bowl. So I think that's great. I think I would pay the $7 million if I had it to get my business viewed. My favorite Super Bowl commercial, there's been a ton of them, but Doritos always makes some fun commercials. My favorite commercial, I do believe that it was like a young man or something like that, and a dog took his chip and took his Dorito. He took it back. It's my Dorito, you can't have it, or something like that. It's a simple commercial, but it made me laugh, and that's the only one I really get.
Okay, that's fair enough. And look, there's going to be some famous people that do debuts as well on the commercials. There's always plenty. Last year, I remember Cardi B. It's been several people that they use them for their brand as well. So look, some companies release their company ads early. Budweiser is one of them. Ramesh, like you mentioned, it released and can already tell it's going to be a hit. So you guys can go on YouTube and take a look at it. But look, leading up to the big game, which is Sunday, we've compiled all the Super Bowl commercials starring celebrities like mentioned, Snoop Dogg, Megan Thee Stallion, Charlie Puth, and Jason Sudeikis, Pete Davis, and Lindsay Lohan. There's just so many and more, to be honest. So this is going to be interesting. I love the commercials parts because I get a lot of ideas. I get a lot of ideas on content, on branding, and just how to take it to the next level. So that's what you guys can do. If you guys are entrepreneurs, how to take your entrepreneurship to the next level. It might not be to that level, but it could just spark up a little idea. You never know. These people put a lot of thought in a huge committee to come up with this. So I'm excited about the commercials. I'm really excited about the game too. Don't get it twisted. And I love the entertainment. That's just where my heart is. So I'm even more excited about the performances. That's me all day long. So guys, I want to ask you, Super Bowl Sunday is normally, celebrated at someone's home, at a party, at a bar, at a club. You never know. We're still in the pandemic, so it's probably not going to be so out there, right? But how will you guys be watching the Super Bowl game? What are you guys going to be doing or cooking?
I'm not cooking. I'll be eating and drinking. But yeah, we're watching with a bunch of friends.
Hopefully, My brother, he just got a new home, so we're gonna go over and celebrate that, and he's gonna cook something up for us. So hopefully we'll be at my brother's house.
All right. Congratulations to your brother and his new home. That's going to be awesome. We'd also love to hear where you guys are going to be celebrating your Super Bowl fiasco. Look, it starts early. It's just like the tailgates, right? You start prepping, you start, drinking. We want to tell you, Ramesh, you want to tell everyone who's watching to drink responsibly and make sure to look out for everyone. But, this weekend brings a lot. And I want you to kind of give us a little message in regards to after Super Bowl, when you go to your home and making sure you're safe.
Yeah, please drive safe. Uber ride or a Lyft ride or a taxi ride, all of those things are a lot cheaper than a DWI. And we want to make sure the roads are safe. But if you're going to party responsibly.
Yes, exactly. Look, and I want you guys to make sure you tune into our social media. We're doing interactive posts the whole day, starting from 8 a.m. all the way to the end of the game, whether it's little games, the attorneys coming on there and just being just great sports on really interacting with the Super Bowl theme. So Ramesh, we can't thank you guys enough for just being so open and just wanting to do some of these things. And $1 million question we all have is, who is gonna win? We never know. We cannot forecast it, but what we can do is grab all those statistics and all the data and try to make the best educated guess. But we will all have to wait till Sunday to find out.
Thank you, Marty, for having us. Lawrence, your rookie at bat on the show, huh?
Yeah, man. Thank you guys for having me up, man. It was a pleasure.
Yes, It's a pleasure to have you guys on the panel. So we want to thank you from Talk to Me Tuesday for being on today's show. And for those of you guys that are watching, we also want to thank you guys for watching, tuning in, and most importantly for sharing the show. The more you share, the more insight you get someone to see who's going to win on Super Bowl Sunday. So we want to thank you for tuning in on a Tuesday, every Tuesday. I'm your host, Madi B. Until next time.
See you guys.